I'm back, y'all. Here's episode 5. This thing cut off after an hour. I don't even know how far I got in my thing. It just cut off because the video stopped. Okay, so I'm continuing this episode because I was outside showing y'all where I was gonna put the rose bush. I think that's where it cut off. And I came in and I was talking about how junky the house was and said that I'm gonna finish the story I was just telling about the gift. And then I've got to tell this other story about the latest health thing that I'm going through right now. And then I will end this. So this will go no longer than 10 minutes. Okay, first of all, my mother told me, open my mouth. She's like, I don't care how crazy it sounds. So I was like, Mama, I be dreaming of earthquakes and I be feeling like earthquakes are going to hit and blah, blah, blah. So I told her about this. She was like, whenever you have that feeling, open your mouth. I don't care how crazy it sounds, do it. And I started doing it. And then I would have dreams about stuff. I dreamt my father's death. Okay? When I went to Oklahoma, when I left December the 1st, because I had to be there the 5th to take that ACT and SAT test. When I left on the 1st of December, my uncle from from Indiana, drove me down there. And he's the one, he's deceased now. He drove me there and stuff. I had all my little stuff packed up in my van. He drove me in my van and then he flew back or something like that. I can't remember, or took a bus back. So anyway, I got to Oklahoma on the 1st of December. The 5th, that Tuesday, it was either that Tuesday or Wednesday, I had to take the ACT and SAT. I don't know how well I did on it, but I had to take the test and I did well on everything. They just put me in remedial math. And I knew that the math, and although I did my best, I did what I thought what I thought would help or whatever. I didn't guess at answers just because I knew I was bad at math. I actually tried, to do it, and it just didn't pan out. So I was in the special ed math, okay? But everything else, I did pretty good. I was either in the average class or I was in the above average class. And I was thankful because when I graduated, first of all, I was a high school dropout. I should have graduated at 17. I dropped out of high school because of bullying. That's a long story. But my parents was like, don't think you finna just sit around here as a high school dropout. You going to school. So my counselor told my parents I could go to adult ed. So I went to adult ed the next year. Oh, that September, I was there. I made all A's in adult ed. A's and B's, because my GPA was so bad from high school, I was able to bring my GPA up that year to a C. And it was actually a counselor. She's dead now. She told me that first semester I had made all A's. She was like, you have brought your GPA up from an E average all the way up to, she was like, you're at a D average now. She was like, you can graduate now. You have enough credit. She was like, but my advice to you would be, she was like, you never know, because you say you'll never go to college. You don't want to go to college, blah, blah, blah. Folks had told me I wasn't even college material. In fact, my late aunt paid for me to go to hair school. I went to hair school and dropped out of that, okay? But anyway, she's like, I would advise you. She was like, you can stop school now and graduate. She was like, with the D average, she was like, but I have a feeling someday you might decide to go to college, or you might even decide to do something more and you might need a higher GPA. She's like, you can get that GPA up to at least a C if you stay another semester. I was like, I didn't even think I could stay. I thought they all were going to make me graduate because I had my credits. I was like, I would love to stay. I stayed for the rest of that year. And I brought that GPA up to a C+. That GPA is what got me into college when I went 20 years, I was 18. I went to college at 37, almost 38. I turned 38. So 19 years later, when I did get to college, that C average is what got me there. But why I was so thankful about my ACT and SAT, number one, I retained everything that I had learned, and whatnot. But I remember getting an award in science class in GPA. In GPA. I'm getting crazy now. And I got an award in adult ed because I was above average in science. I had an excellent whatever with that. I grasped it quick. And in college, they had me in the above average science class, and I did so well in there. My science teacher was like, wow. He was like, how you know this stuff? I was like, I don't know. I was like, it's just stuff. It just comes to me. He was like, I'm looking at your math scores and your math grades. He was like, you're doing horrible in math. He was like, science is math. I was like, don't ask me how this mess is going. I was like, I'm good at science. I'm bad at math. It's just that simple. He was like, but you're doing the above average math to get to your science equation. I was like, listen, the periodic table of elements, hey, I just automatically know those. I was like, but math, I can't go any further than multiplication. It is what it is. And then they kept telling me, that's because you believe. I was like, listen, it is what it is. I am a realist all the way. When people tell me don't claim it, or when people tell me don't put it in the atmosphere, I'm not a doggone witch. It is what it is. That's me. So for those of y'all who think that speaking something into existence is what you do, okay, fine. But don't tell me not to do it. It's not that I'm speaking it into existence. All I can answer to you is, it is what it is. If God didn't mean for me to know math, he didn't bless me with the gift of math, but God gifted me with the gift of reading. I can read the letters off of a book. Believe me. Oh, I can read a book. If I read to you, in fact, when I was in school, the teachers would always, and that's what led to a lot of the bullying that I went through. The teacher always called on me because you had those students who couldn't read at all. Then you had those students who didn't know how to sound out a word, so they were real slow. Then you had your stutterers. Then you had, nobody read fluently. Some of them could read, but then if they read, then they didn't even read. I read with expression. I would change the voice. Oh, I did it all, okay? And that's why my teacher was like, you need to be in the school plays. You would make a great actress. You can read right from the script without even, she would tell me, you can read right from the script without even seeing it first or whatever. And people to this day, in fact, when I was in college, here I go again, y'all. When I was in college, I read in my English class, and my teacher said, I want you to go up to the studio. They had a radio station at Langston, WKALU, and he said, I want you to go see Michael Jackson, or Mike Jackson, that was his name. He was like, go see Mike Jackson and tell him that Professor Yoon sent you. I was like, okay. He was like, I'm going to call him in advance. He's like, be up there at 3 o'clock. I went up there to there, and I knocked on the door. I was like, Professor Yoon sent me. He was like, I was waiting on you, Miss Davis. He told me that you read in the classroom. He was like, and I need somebody to read these commercial promos for me. Oh my goodness. He was like, he gave me a whole big stack of papers. Now I wasn't getting paid for it, but I did the commercial promos for WKALU that blasted all over the city of Oklahoma City. And so I remember this one it was about this show called The Red Rooster. And it was like, and so when I read it, he was like, okay, let me hear you read the promo for Red Rooster, and then I'll hit record if I like it. Because he was like, if it's anything I want you to do different or whatever, I'll let you know. So I'm looking at this thing, and I was like, oh, I can get him because I knew how to crow like a rooster. Wait a minute. I was the rooster in our church play because they were looking for somebody who could say cock-a-doodle-doo. So all the kids for the church play were saying cock-a-doodle-doo. And I was like, oh no. I was like, why? She said to crow like a rooster. So she wouldn't call on me because the Sunday school teacher didn't like me. That's another story. But anyway, she wouldn't call on me. So I took it upon myself. I'm at the back of the church. All of a sudden I went, oh, I did it better than that, okay? I could crow like a rooster to where if I was around a rooster, he would crow back, okay? I did that, and she was like, who just did that? Joanna. She looked at me like, oh man, I can't stand her, but yep, she's the rooster. So I was the rooster. Okay. So This show was called The Red Rooster. So I began the promo with, welcome to the Red Rooster Show every Saturday night at 9 o'clock p.m. on WKALU. And boy, that was it. He was like, okay, come on with it. So I went on with that. Then I did Earth and Sky. It was a lot of them. I got a tape still because he gave me the promo tape. And it was so neat hearing my commercials on the radio. I was like, wow. And I sounded so different. My voice sounded totally different because, you know, he had the equipment. It was like it was in a studio. So he would do the pitch of my voice. He would make my voice a little bit higher than it actually was. He was able to, he asked me to speak more clearly because I have a tendency not to. And he asked me to, it was a few things, you know, pointers that he told me to do. And I was able to do them. And so when it came out, it was so crisp and clear. That's why when you go to a concert, which I've never been to one, but people have said they've been to concerts and they say the singer sounds horrible compared to how it sounds on the record. When you have that stuff there, it perfects what you're doing and saying. Okay, so anyway, so, yep. So how did I get to that story, Lord? But anyway, as it all turns out, to end this story once and for all, when my mother told me to open my mouth, I started opening my mouth. And from then on, people know that I have that gift. Then my aunt had told me that I was gifted because of the reading and, you know, and stuff like that. I don't even know if she knew about the earthquake thing, but she knew I had dreams and she knew that I would prophesy things. But I had dreamt my father's death. I told my mother, this was about 2 weeks before I went to Oklahoma, I said, Mama, I'm going to wait a semester. I was like, I dreamt that Daddy died. I dreamt that you found him dead. You came home from work and found, I told her exactly how it was going to happen. And then I was telling everybody who would listen, because everybody knew I was going to Oklahoma. I was like, girl, you better get and go. Only one person told me, I believe you're right. Don't go. She was like, if you dreamt that your father died, don't go. Wait. She was the only person, my neighbor named Bessie. She was the only person who told me that. And I was like, Bessie, I don't want to go. I was like, but everybody else is on me. They were like, you're not going to get a chance like this ever again in life. Go. So I went. December the 1st. My father died January 19th, which was my first day of school. See that picture there that I showed y'all earlier? Right there. Sitting on the thing. Oh, I was smiling on that picture, but believe me, 3 hours later, I was on the ground after my uncle broke the news that my mama had come home from work and found my daddy. The story was exactly how I dreamt it. Can't get no better than that. Okay? So, anyway, so that was it. All right, so like I said, and that was after Mama had told me, open my mouth and stuff, but then she was the main one talking about, girl, that was just a dream. You just stressed out about going to college and blah, 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 blah. If you don't go, and I was like, nope, Mama, I ain't going. And she was like, please, just go. Because if you don't go, you'll never get there. And she was correct about that because had I not gone, oh, believe me, my father ended up dying. Oh, it's no way. I would have went that next semester because I would have felt obligated to stay home and help my mother, you know, and whatnot. Because I knew things, you know, losing the income and stuff. Oh, no, there's no way I would have gone. So I'm glad that she talked me into going. I never was upset about it and stuff or whatever. I knew why. And my aunt kind of explained why, you know, after it was over with. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. But I wasn't going back. After I came back for that funeral, I was like, okay, I'm getting here. I flew. And I was like, first of all, I ain't flying back. I ain't going back. And I wouldn't. They had to drag me to the airport. And they got me back. And so I was like, since I'm back in Oklahoma. And he died on my first day of school. So I missed a week of school and hadn't even started, really. You know, I just got my synopsises. So I was way behind when I got back. So the first thing I did when I got back, I was like, they had a school counselor there. And I took it upon myself to go to grief counseling. That was number one. Then, right after that, a week later, that's when God hit me with that second blessing, where I met the centenarian. and we became great friends and all that stuff. So that's another long story, and I'll show you his picture and whatnot. And so I had 2 years with him. He was born in 1899. He lived through all of the 1900s, and he died in 2002. So he lived in 3 centuries. And his father was an original Oklahoma 89er. And this man had the memory of an elephant. He still drove and everything. He told me his whole life story. And we were set up to get published for a book about his life through the Oklahoma Heritage Association. And the book was going to be forwarded by John Hope Franklin. This man was like a local celebrity, and all they did was use him to tell his story, and no one ever thought about a book, a movie, something about his life. And I thought about it, and I got in touch with the Oklahoma Heritage Association, and they hurried up and swiped us up. We went for this big meeting, his family, myself, and we were writing a book. I was going to be the co-author. He was going to be the author. And then he got sick and died. Oh, Lord, that just about killed me. And none of his family didn't know enough about him to finish the book. But I had all these notes. I had all these recordings. And I promised him, I was like, I'm going to get this book written, because I knew he was dying when he died. In fact, he was the very first person I was able to say goodbye the night that he died. He was coherent until the end, but he knew he was dying. I knew he was dying. And so I went and saw him for the last time. We said our goodbyes, and I told him it was such an honor to know him, and he died, okay? So that night, okay, but anyway, I promised him to write the book. He was like, don't write that book about me. He was like, and he called me Miss Davis. He said, don't write that book about me, Miss Davis. He said, I want you to write a book about yourself and incorporate me in the story. It dawned on me just the other day, because here I am sick again, and I'm finna get to that story. Give me another 15 minutes, y'all. It dawned on me the other day. I went in that room, and I was like, maybe I should sit down. Remember I was telling y'all that every time I sit down at that computer to write the book about mama and the caregiving journey, that I get sick, something happens? Well, here we go again. I went in there the other day, and I looked at that computer. I was like, well, perhaps it's time. Okay, God, is it true? Can I do it now? Went to the doctor on the 13th, and I think I told y'all about that appointment because I've been having all these crazy symptoms. Come to find out, he was like, do you have autoimmune disease? Yes, I do. He said, you have a lot of inflammation because of where my throat was hurting and my jaw was hurting and my neck was hurting. He was like, he told me the glands that they are, and they connect to the lymph nodes. He's like, I told him I hadn't had mumps before. And I told him it just hurts to eat. It hurts to swallow. He was like, is your throat closing? I was like, don't say that. And so anyway, he was like, you're going on steroids. So he put me on the steroid that I take, Salomedrol. And so this little teeny tiny pill, see it right there? This little teeny tiny pill is so bitter. It's horrible. So I had to go out and buy all this doggone candy to stave the taste. So I'm on 3 pills a day. I'm on 3 pills a day. 3 pills a day to yesterday, today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Starting Sunday, I'm 2 days a pill for 4 days, and then 1 pill a day for 2 more days, 2 or 3 more days. Altogether is 13 days. Then I go back to him on the 27th of the month. So that let me know something happened. I can't write the book. But then it dawned on me, I thought about Mr. Andrews where he said, write the book about yourself and incorporate me in it. Duh. Perhaps that's what God wants me to do. Write the book about myself, since I have such a great story to tell. I told you I done lived an interesting life. And I'll be 59 on July 14th. Maybe that's what he's trying to tell me. Write a book about myself and my life and incorporate the adventure of what happened with Mr. Andrew. And there's many other adventures, I can tell you that now. And then I can incorporate the journey of taking care of my mother and how all that happened. And then I'm still on a journey. The journey of the Que-stead, until he decides to take me away from here. I'm always be on some kind of crazy journey. So therefore, perhaps that's what he wants me to do. I think it's starting to come to me now. I'll find out. So I'm going to try. I'm going to pray, and I'm going to sit down at that computer again and say, okay, God, I'm writing a book about myself. I'm going to start it about myself, my own biography or autobiography. And let's see how things go. And let's see if I get sick again. If I do, I'm going to stop. But let me know. And I think that's what he's doing, because that's what I said the other day. I said, well, God, let me know, because I know you'll do it. And I told you, I truly believe that he would let me know when it's time. And I think that's what he's doing. He's letting me know, okay, this is what I want you to do. So now here I am sick again, and on this steroid. And the good news about the steroid, and that is the final story, y'all, so I'm almost done. The good news about being on the steroid, because I have so many autoimmune diseases, the steroid helps for everything. So although nothing else is revved up or flared up, the steroid is still going to help that and keep that from revving up and flaring up. So what's flared up now, it'll help that, but everything else will stay at bay as well. So anyway, look for me on the 25th to tell the story of my autoimmune disease journey. And like I said, that could be part of the book too, you know, all that. And like I said, I was on worldwide TV, and hopefully one of these days y'all might be able to find, I'll look for the link online of my appearance on Mystery Diagnosis if you want to look at it, episode 306. Believe me, every story I tell y'all, I got proof of it. I'm transparent, because some of the stuff is just unbelievable of what I have been through in life. And it's just unbelievable. So there is proof of everything. I lie to you not. But I need to get my story out there. So even if it means doing it on YouTube, it leaves a legacy. So that's it. So let me get off of here. We into 21 minutes. I'm going to get both of these videos uploaded, episode 4, parts 1 and 2. And I'm sorry for keeping y'all on an hour and a half. This is almost like a movie. But hopefully I kept your interest enough to listen to this. But I'll be getting things together pretty soon, y'all. And welcome to all the new members, and welcome to everybody who's who's commented and viewed the videos. I truly appreciate you. I really do. And I thank God for you. So I will talk to you all later, and may God bless you all. Bye-bye.